What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. My squad with me, T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigo.
Let's do this. Let's get right into it again. Part 2 of last week. The restructuring of the Bucks and just looking at where the NBA is right now. And we're talking about the grading system that Bleacher Report has given the different teams on how they did on their off-season drafting or building of their teams. But we start off with, again, last week's scripture, Isaiah 43:19 in the New King James. It says, "Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth and you shall not know it. And I will even make a road in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." 2 Corinthians 5:17 says this, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things are new." And we talked about how the Bucks have made some adjustments and some trades and things of that nature. But the question becomes, do you think that they've done enough to keep Giannis here? Do you think that Giannis is saying, okay, yes, we are going in the same direction. I think we are have upgraded from last year, or does he look at the team and say, this is still a lateral move? We should have made a bigger splash in off-season trades. But considering they tried to bring in 2 marquee players, one balked on them, on the Bucks, and we may get in trouble. The Bucks even may get in trouble for tampering. That's how serious they were about bringing in, some extra help. Do you think it's enough for him to sign the Supermax and stay here?
I think so. I think that there are a couple of factors that go into it. Sure, he probably would have liked to have had, maybe one more piece. The Bogdanovich would have been, I think, that piece or some equivalent if that, fall through of an addition stays as is right now. I think for Giannis, the deal is the other considerations are that, that Supermax, although he's already paid, he has some money already, and there's some other suitors that are in warmer climates, Miami, California, Golden State, come to mind immediately. I think he also can get $82 million more with re-signing with the Bucks. Right. So that's close to $100 million. No matter how much money you have, you always, could use, some more. I know money is not, everything, but I think it was maybe Bill Cosby that said one time it runs a close second to whatever is, though.
Right.
And another good friend of mine who's a business owner who, multi-millionaire, and, she had retired from one of her first careers and went into some business, and some folks asked her, well, why are you still working? Why don't you just chill on out? And her response to them, as she was recounting this story to me, is that people think just because you got money that you don't want some more.
Right.
So she wants more. So I think
no, I have enough. I'm good.
Right. So from Giannis's standpoint, you never can have too much money, number one. Number two, I think the Bucks themselves, not only with this move in terms of, hey, Giannis, we see what is going on these last 2 years, heard you loud and clear. We know you want to be surrounded by a better quality of, player personnel, and we're going to do our best to do that. But we've also showed you that we are willing to put our money where our mouth is. They made those moves, and they also have already demonstrated their commitment to bringing a championship culture here by buying a team, the owners have, and building a stadium. So between the purchase of the team, which was, for some, $250 million, and building a stadium for $500 million, they put close to $1 billion worth of investment in the city of Milwaukee with bringing a winner. So you can't say that they've been,
tight and stingy.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And Giannis, I think the third thing for me, well, 2 more things. One is Giannis has been a pretty low-key, very, very humble guy. And I'm not even trying to say this like humbleness is the equivalent or synonymous with weakness. No, he's a guy that's not pretentious. He's very pragmatic. You know, his family is here. He has a son now. His son was born here. His dad, may he rest in peace, came here to Milwaukee. He passed here. He has roots here. You know what I'm saying?
His mom is here. His brothers are here.
Exactly.
And if I don't sign, is my brother out the league?
So you have those considerations. I think, and the last piece, I think this kind of maybe goes to his competitive spirit, is the fact that although the Bucks have been prematurely bounced from the playoffs the last 2 years, and it's been obvious that there is some additional help that, you know, the team needs to surround Giannis with, Giannis has not been MVP caliber in the playoffs.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? So there's been some contributions to the team's demise in the playoffs that he's had. Key turnovers, missed free throws, atrocious jump shooting, particularly from deep. So this is going to be not just an either or. This is going to be a both and. Bucks, the franchise, can you continue to surround him with the necessary appropriate pieces to help the team get over the hump? Giannis, your contribution is we need to see you as a new and improved player every year. Are you putting in the time in the offseason working on your free throws? Are you putting in the time in the offseason working on your jump shot? Are you in the offseason working on the weaknesses of your game that have been exposed in the last 2 years by two different teams?
Right.
So it's time for you to come with the funk as well. It's one thing for you to average 35 points, 17 rebounds, and 8 or 9 assists in the playoffs. I'm doing all I can, and y'all, you ain't been doing that. You've been underachieving too. So let us all bring our chips to the table so we can move together as a unit. And I think the organization with Giannis have been doing that thus far. I don't see that being disrupted at this particular juncture. I think they've done enough to show him that, hey, man, we are serious about this. We're genuine in our efforts, and we want to work with you to bring a championship to this city, the first one since 1971.
Right. You know, I could go into it some more, but I'm not, because I want to get into what we were talking about last week.
Gotcha.
Which is the Bleachers Reports off-season draft grades.
Okay.
We ended up with Charlotte, and now we're going to, staying with the C, Chicago. Mm-hmm. Chicago Bulls got a C-. Notable additions, Patrick Williams, Devin Dotson, and Garrett Temple, whoever they are.
Right.
They got rid of Chris Dunn and Shaquille Harrison. I know who Chris Dunn is. Shaquille Harrison, not a clue. But they did give a qualifying offer for Denzel Valentine. Mm-hmm. But they really didn't do anything to make a splash.
Yeah, and that was kind of mediocre. They still have Zach LaVine, too, right?
Right.
The star marquee player. Okay. That's
right.
kind of ho-hum on what they did.
Right. They were just whelming. Mm-hmm. Same with Cleveland Cavaliers. Uh-huh. Very whelming. They got additions Isaac Okoro, JaVale McGee, wow, and Damian Dotson. They also got rid of Tristan Thompson. And they re-signed Matthew Dellavedova.
Wow.
Andre Drummond opted out. You know, so they didn't do much.
Yeah.
Next is the D's.
Uh-oh.
Dallas Mavericks.
Dun, 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 dun.
They got an A-. Additions, they got Josh Richardson, James Johnson, Wes Awadu, Josh Green, Terrell Terry, and Tyler Bay. They got rid of Seth Curry, DeLeon Wright, and Justin Jackson. They re-signed Willie Cauley-Stein and Trey Burke. These were some more pieces that they added to get around Luka. Mm-hmm. And so I think what they did is they got some more spot-up shooters so that Luka could drive, draw, and dish. And I think that might have made them better.
Yeah, I agree. Matter of fact, I'll just say this one quick thing. I think Dallas, to me, just based on what I saw in these playoffs this past year, could be the other Western Conference final representative against the LA Lakers
Right.
come this time next year.
Right. Denver Nuggets, staying with D, they got a B minus. They added JaMychal Green, Zeke Ninja, R.J. Hampton, and Isaiah Hartenstein. They got rid of Jamari Grant, Mason Plumlee, and Torrey Craig, and they re-signed Paul Millsap. So they didn't do much. Detroit Pistons, they're hanging out with Fab Five Freddy as well. They got an F. Additions, they got Jamari Grant, Mason Plumlee, Jahlil Okafor, Josh Jackson, DeLon Wright, Rodney Magruder, a whole bunch of other cats that nobody knows. They got rid of Christian Wood. They didn't get rid of much, and they didn't add much. They also got rid of Tony Snell. But they really didn't do anything to make themselves better.
No, really ho-hum as well.
Right. Golden State Warriors got a B+. But it really doesn't matter because Splash Brother is out for another year.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson tore his Achilles. So he's done for the year.
Yeah, that's tough.
But they did something smart. They added Kelly Oubre Jr. So they added another scorer. They also got Kent Bazemore, Brad Wanamaker, James Wiseman, and I don't know this other cat, but they also got rid of Kyle Bowman, and they didn't re-sign anybody.
Yeah, one of the things that, the unfortunate about Klay Thompson's injury, I was looking forward to him, being back on the court with, Steph Curry and them doing their thing. But a lot of folks, I had heard a lot of chatter that they were almost automatically putting Golden State back in the, championship conversation. And as far as I'm concerned, even if Klay Thompson had not have had this injury, I don't know that I had them as a top-tier Western Conference team for a couple of reasons. Number one, y'all coming off all these, injuries and some of this fatigue because y'all had this great run running, 3 championships in 5 years or whatever. The other thing is that in professional sports today, you typically have a window of dominance, and that window closes and you have to regroup. I mean, the one exception may be the New England Patriots of their 20-year run in the NFL, and that looks like that's kind of done come to a close too.
Right.
So I didn't have Golden State as, one of my favorites to win a championship even before the Klay Thompson injury because the other teams have really just improved that much more as far as I'm concerned in the West. And the defending champion Lakers, we'll get to them in a minute. The West is stackeder than what it was before.
I agree. Also, I do believe that Steph is fine, though. Because I think he just sat because it's like, y'all not going to go beat me up because I'm the only scorer here.
Exactly.
So I'm going to get beat up, so I'll just sit. So I think he's fine. But let's keep moving. We're done with the G's. Let's go to the H. Houston Rockets got a B. They added Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins, and Sterling Brown. Man, we're going to miss you here, Sterling. But you did get a nice fat paycheck from us.
Exactly.
They got rid of Robert Covington, Jeff Green, and Austin Rivers. And they didn't re-sign anybody else. So, and it looks like they're also going to probably lose Westbrook and Harden.
Okay.
Now,
is that still possible, or has the window for the free agent signings and all that kind of stuff, is that coming gone?
I don't think any of it's gone. I think the last of the what you can do is like mid-season.
Okay, yeah.
I think all the way up until then, you can still make some moves.
Okay.
So I don't think those moves are gone. I just think those moves, the talk, I think this behind the scenes talking now to see what's going to happen. Okay. I do not think that Harden is going to go to Brooklyn because Brooklyn ain't got enough to give back.
Gotcha. So you think that before the end of the season, both Harden and Westbrook will no longer be with the Rockets by the time we get to the end of this upcoming NBA season?
Either that or they're going to have such a horrible season because you're going to have 2 disheartened players who don't want to be there.
Okay.
You know, so what kind of production am I going to get out of somebody who don't want to be here? So we'll see. We'll see. Next is Indiana Pacers. They got a B-. They added Cassius Stanley. They got rid of TJ Leaf, re-signed Justin Holiday and Jakar Sampson. But they didn't really do much. They didn't really do much.
I think they had a number of injuries this year. They had a pretty good squad coming into this season. Nice size down low with I forget the guy's name.
The center.
The center, exactly.
Right.
So him and, Brogdon and, Oladipo, et cetera.
Oladipo's back now. He's coming back.
Yeah. If they can stay healthy, I would like to see what they can do with a healthy squad for the whole season. I think they have some nice pieces.
Yeah. Now, we're going to L.A.
All right.
But the clip joint. They got a B. They added Serge Ibaka and Luke Kennard. They got rid of Montrezl Harrell, JaMychal Green, Landry Shamet, and Rodney Magruder. And they re-signed Marcus Morris Sr. And so they didn't do much. They just added some more length, it looks like.
Yeah. I'm still kind of disappointed in how they flamed out in the playoffs in the bubble. I expected much more from them. I thought that they would give the LA Lakers a lot of trouble in the playoffs were they to meet in the Western Conference Finals. And hats off to the Lakers for handling their end of the bargain all the way to getting the chip. And the Clippers just a little dysfunction. I'm a little concerned also coming into this season, the way they flamed out and a lot of the, post-season jibber-jabber that's been surrounding them as well. They seem to have some issues in their locker room. As far as talent is concerned, they still have the pieces in Kawhi and Paul George and whatever is left of that, squad that they had last year. But the loss of Montrezl Harrell, I think, is going to be big.
Also, a big loss they lost?
What was that?
Doc.
They Hall of Fame coach as well.
And so you're getting, what's his name that they got from the Lakers?
Tyronn Lue?
Yeah. So you got Tyronn Lue.
Yeah.
But Tyronn Lue you won one championship. You ain't a vet coach yet, bro.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think the rub there, I will say, is Doc. He also went to Marquette here in Milwaukee. Hey, shout out to, Doc Rivers. So we've known you and been a fan of yours for a long time. I think, though, that with the way they flamed out, I always considered Doc one of the best coaches in the league, and I still hold him in that regard.
Right.
For whatever reason, they did not perform. I thought his coaching prowess, his stature, his approach, his relationship with players, his ability to make adjustments, his championship pedigree, blah, 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 would be enough to where if the players didn't come with their end of the bargain, he could bring his, moxie to the table to kind of fill the gap to get them over the hump. That didn't happen this year with this squad. So maybe, at least just with this squad, some of the luster that he would bring to the table was neutralized somehow. Tyronn Lue, although he is not as illustrious as, Doc and some of the other coaches, the one thing I appreciate about him, and when Cleveland won the championship, coming back down from 1-3 in the deficit to Golden State back in 2016, there were some times during that series where they gave us a chance to see inside of the huddle during the timeout. And the attitude, the demeanor that he had with those players, it seemed like he was in control, and more importantly, he held players accountable. And it was like, wait a minute, man, are you a for real coach? And I think that he had some underrated tenacity. I think he came from a small town in Missouri. Also, if you recall, when he played for the Lakers, when they beat Philadelphia and Allen Iverson.
Give him the business!
Right.
I'm sorry.
in 2001, when they beat the Bucks, the Sixers did, in that 7-game series when we had our big three, Sam Cassell, Ray Allen, and Glenn Big Dog Robinson. he was playing Allen Iverson very, very scrappily. You know, Allen Iverson still got his because he Allen Iverson. But the effort that Tyronn Lue gave in being pesky and being worrisome and being this and being
tiring him out and all that.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that he brings that same kind of tenacity to coaching. And the last piece is that when you are an assistant coach, you sometimes get a chance to get players' ear different than the head coach. So you're able to establish, a good cop, bad cop relationship with the players. Now, though, that you've hit some buttons with them, you've been a soother of them of sorts, now you come into the head coaching ranks, that relationship changes. I think he has the guts to call them jokers out. Hey, man, you playing like a hook. What are you doing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that might be the
not just a regular hook. You playing like a sky hook.
Facts. So I think that little change of pace lets them know that, hey, man, don't take nothing for granted. Nobody here is untouchable.
Right. I do think one of the downfalls to, I believe, the Clippers and Doc was, when Doc was with Boston, he had some dogs on the team that will get in players' face and hold them accountable.
Right.
I think the Clippers teams was just too soft. Everybody was sensitive and temper. Because who on that team would hold Paul George accountable? Who on that team would hold Kawhi Leonard accountable?
I'll say from what we've heard from rumors, the Montrezl Harrell guy, and we see where he is now.
Gone.
Not there no more. Exactly.
Right. Because he was holding cats accountable. But if you're a superstar and you're doing it, has more cachet. So let's keep going because we got a lot to try to get through in the next 5 minutes. LA Lakers, they got an A, and we know why. They added Montrezl Harrell, who went from one locker room to the other, didn't even have to move his crib. Wesley Matthews, he went over to the Lakers. Dennis Schroeder went over there. And Mark Gasol.
Yeah.
So that was major. But they did get rid of Danny Green, which I thought could be a great piece here with the Bucks. Rajon Rondo, JaVale McGee, Avery Bradley, that's what you get for not being in the bubble with us. You're out of here, bro. And Dwight Howard. We knew Dwight Howard was a experiment anyway.
Yeah.
But he did get a ring out of it. So, but they did re-sign Contavious Caldwell-Pope and Marquise Morris. So
I thought they had the best offseason to have the combination both of Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell together. That was a steal of the offseason.
Right.
And they grinded through a championship. And having had the championship under their belt for first-timers such as Pope and Anthony Davis, they're going to be really, really, really tough to beat. They're my favorite to win the championship coming into this next season.
So I'm going to go through the rest of these pretty quickly. We'll stop at a couple of them. But Memphis Grizzlies got a B. Miami Heat got a B+. They just added Avery Bradley. That's really all they did. Milwaukee Bucks got a D+.
Harsh.
D+. And, geez.
Yeah, that's a little mean-spirited. We went through in great detail what we thought about theirs, and we thought it was much higher than a D+ on the grade tip.
I think part of it is because we haven't signed Giannis to an extension.
Okay.
I think if we had signed him to an extension, I think we would have made an A to A+. But because we still haven't signed him and we haven't put great pieces around him, we just put a much better piece around him. I think that's why we got the grade we got.
Okay.
Minnesota Timberwolves got a C-. They just added Ricky Rubio back to Minnesota, but they didn't do much other than that, and Anthony Edwards. Pelicans got a B. They got Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams.
Okay. I see.
And that's about it. Of course, they got rid of Drew, Derek Favors, Etuan Moore, I knew they were going to get rid of Okafor. And they re-signed Brandon Ingram, which I knew they weren't going to let him go anywhere.
Yeah.
New York got a better grade than us.
The Knicks.
The Nicky Knicks got a C+. They got, of course, their draft choice of Tipton, Nerlens Noel, Alec Burke, Austin Rivers, and that's about it, you know. And they re-signed nobody who anybody cares about. Oklahoma City got an A+. They got Al Horford, George Hill, Ty Jerome, Trevor Ariza, Frank Jackson, Darius Miller. They got some decent pieces, but they got rid of a bunch and they didn't re-sign anybody.
Yeah, they lost Chris Paul.
Let me say this. They got rid of Chris Paul, Dallo Gallinari, Chris Adams, Dennis Schroeder. They got rid of their top 6 players.
Yeah, so I don't agree with that grade. That grade to me seems a bit too elevated.
Yeah, they got rid of their top 6. The Magic, Orlando Magic got a fat donut. They got a D. They added in the draft Cole Anthony and Dwayne Beacon, and they got rid of DJ Augustine, and they re-signed Michael Carter Williams, James Ennis III, and Gary Clark. Philly got a B+. They added Dennis Green, Seth Curry, Terrence Ferguson, Dwight Howard, and Tyrese Maxey. They got rid of Al Horford, Josh Richardson, Alec Burke, nobody. I don't think they did much because, let's just be honest, Danny Green can be a good spot-up shooter. Seth Curry, his game is so suspect, you don't even know what to say. And Dwight Howard, what are you going to be in Philly? And what are you going to be playing behind Embiid?
Exactly.
You know, Phoenix got an A-. Why? Because they signed Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, which was good, Langston Caldwell, Etwan Moore. They got some decent players.
Yeah. They're gonna be tough to beat. They might make the Final Four of the Western Conference Finals last year. They played excellent in the bubble, went 8-0, almost made the playoffs. Devin Booker is a stud. Now having a coach on the floor with Chris Paul, Dallas Mavericks and the Phoenix Suns are going to be the teams to watch in the West in terms of upcoming ones that can give a challenge possibly to the stout Lakers squad.
I'm going to close off with this one, and maybe we'll get back. Maybe we'll be a part 3 of this. Portland Trailblazers got an A+. They signed Robert Covington, Derek Jones Jr., the high riser, Enes Kanter, and Harry Giles III. They got rid of Trevor Ariza and Hassan Whiteside, and they re-signed Rodney Hood, and Carmelo got another year.
Carmelo's still sticking around.
So I see what they did.
Congratulations.
They got more athletic. And in the middle, Enes Kanter, I think, is better than Whiteside. Because Enes Kanter at least can get you some buckets. Whiteside wasn't giving him anything. But listen, another great show. Meet us back here next Tuesday, same bat time, same bat channel, 7 to 7:30, every Tuesday night. Joy 1340 AM, 98.7 FM. Also Facebook, YouTube, Into His Course. Until next week, have an amazing week. Hey.